So let me guess, you're a footballer who wants to shoot with power and accuracy so you can score more goals in games, but at the moment your finishing looks like, well, you get the point. It needs some work. You've tried countless YouTube tutorials, yet nothing seems to work. Other players on your team seem to score goals for fun without even trying, and yet you are struggling to even hit the target. Well, if any of this sounds like you, then you are in the right place. In the next few minutes, we will go over the most common shooting mistakes that hold players back from their true goal scoring potential, and what you should do right now to instantly start shooting with more power and accuracy so you can prove all your teammates and coaches wrong and start scoring more goals when it matters on game day. But before that, we need to go to step 1, the approach. And this is all going to relate to our run-up. This is where we're going to build momentum. And the key points to nail here is that you want to make sure that you have a fast run-up with at least 3 to 4 steps to build momentum for ideal shot power. You want to make sure that on the backswing, your foot is level to the hip behind you, and that when you're running up to the ball, your steps are not too big and not too small. And especially that final step that you make towards the ball, you don't want that step to be too big so that you're reaching for it, as this will result in less accuracy and less power in your final shot. So there's nothing too complicated here, but you want to make sure that you nail this step, as this will lay a good foundation for the next 2 steps when it comes to shooting with accuracy and power. So now we move on to step 2, making connection. Now that we've built momentum for our shot through the approach phase, it's time to make connection with the ball. This is the most important step in the whole entire process, and that is why there are a few points that you need to nail here in order to have a really clean strike on the ball. And the main things you want to focus on here is planting your foot next to the ball and in the direction you want to shoot, as this will both add accuracy and power to your shot. By pointing your toes in the direction you want to shoot, this will give you more accuracy on the ball, and by planting your foot next to the ball, this will allow you to have maximal power in your shot, as you won't be reaching for the ball, which is a common mistake that a lot of players make when they're starting out. The next thing you want to make sure you do is that you have a locked ankle when you're striking the ball. And this means that your ankle is a little bit more stiff and rigid and not floppy, as this will allow you to translate that locked ankle into more power on the ball. Another crucially important point here is where we're going to strike the ball on our foot. And we want to do this by striking just off to the side of the laces area on the strong bony bit, because this will allow us to have a large and hard contact area to strike the ball with. And when it comes to that exact moment when we're making connection with the ball, there are a few things we need to focus on in terms of the alignment of our body. And one of them is making sure that our leg is fully extended when we strike the ball, as this will allow us a longer lever, which is going to result in more acceleration and more power eventually on the ball. And the other thing in terms of the alignment of our body when striking the ball is making sure that we get the opposite arm up, as this will give us more balance, allowing us to translate more power onto the ball, as opposed to going in different directions when we're unbalanced. Another thing that can have an impact on how much power you get in your shot is how tight or strong your core is. So you want to make sure that when you're striking the ball, you're not just floppy through that core and lower back area, but that you're quite strong and tight through the core when striking the ball. And now that we've generated all of this power on the ball, it's time to focus on our accuracy, because it's no good having a shot that's super powerful, but that goes over the bar or goes wide every single time. So how do we do this? Well, there are really 2 key points I want you to focus on when it comes to getting the accuracy along with the power. And these are: number 1, slightly leaning over the ball with your body to make sure that you keep the ball low and not going over the bar. Otherwise, you will just sky the shot every single time. So by slightly leaning your body forward over the ball, this will allow you to keep it low and on target every single time. And the other thing is where we're contacting the ball with our foot. If we hit it under the ball, then it's gonna go up and sky the shot. So we wanna make sure that we're striking right through the center of the ball, as this will give us not only the most power, but also make sure that it goes on target and doesn't just sky over the bar. And now that we've laid a good foundation with our run-up, we've had a clean connection on the ball, it's time for step 3, the follow through. And this is another important step, but one that is often neglected by beginners, and it costs them a lot of power and accuracy in their shooting. And here, there are 3 simple points that I want you to focus on. Number 1, landing on your kicking leg after you strike the ball. And this should happen quite naturally if you're getting enough momentum and power on the ball, as that leg will just swing through and you will naturally step onto it. And this leads nicely onto step 2, which is stepping across your body with your kicking leg after you've made connection on the ball. And the third point here is continuing that motion in the direction of your shot after making contact with the ball. So if you can nail all of these points in the follow through, as well as the points from step 1 and 2, you will be on track to shooting with power and accuracy in no time. Okay, now, do you actually want to know the secret shooting hack that only pros know? Well,